Hello vlog. Welcome to our hotel room. It is not actually our hotel room, it's just an apartment that feels an awful lot like a hotel room because it's a new building. We've got these like floor to ceiling windows. It's beautiful, but it's so different from the 100-year-old apartment that we came from. Actually like 130-year-old apartment that we were coming from. So in case I haven't explained it already, we are staying in a temporary apartment while we look for apartments. So this place was actually something that Max's company set us up with. So really nice, super grateful. And we have it for up to like 2 to 3 months, and we're kind of hunting for apartments in the meantime. So a lot of our day-to-day right now for the week that we've been here has been pretty devoted to going to work and viewing apartments. It's an incredibly competitive housing market right now because of like the AI boom, which is super unlucky for us. The good news is that the kind of stock of apartments are just like baseline kind of better and more affordable than New York City, so that's nice. But it has been just incredibly difficult to even convince someone to rent to us. We've been here for about a week. It's been kind of surreal. It still like hasn't fully set in yet, but I think it has in some other ways. I think it's just like one of those things that there's so many things to address right now. It's like one of those things that like once you move to the place and you're like trying to figure out how to settle in, you're so preoccupied with the settling in. Like I don't think it's really gonna hit. And I don't think that like some of the kind of, I don't want to say consequences, but some of the kind of like realizations about like kind of what we've now moved away from will really sink in until we're in like a quieter period. It's just like very loud and very busy right now trying to like figure out how to settle into life here. But it's still very exciting. Like I still feel like overall like pretty positive about it. I think I'm just really excited to get an apartment, and I'm really excited to decorate said apartment. And I think that it's going to be just like a several months long endeavor, which will hopefully be kind of like a nice distraction for me from maybe some of the kind of harder parts of moving away from our old life in New York City and into our new life here. I'm kind of hoping that the like kind of settling in period will just kind of last long enough that I'll probably have like windows of kind of like, oh, like sad that we don't have like access to the same friends or the same lifestyle or whatever else. Like I think that we're still gonna like experience like a baseline of that, but I'm hoping that it's like so busy and so distracting that like we're just kind of settled in, and I don't really have time to focus too much on the fact that like I need to make friends, I need to do this, I need to do whatever else, need to do all this other stuff before it just kind of like falls into place on its own. I thought it might be interesting to chat through like some of the, like I guess that was me chatting through some of the kind of like emotional components of the move, but I think other pieces that I imagine a lot of people relate to are just kind of this like kind of getting here and like catching myself like immediately being like, well, I should be doing this and I should be doing this and I should be doing this, like because I have like shifted work hours because I still work my job from New York. I've got like kind of the afternoons, which is great, and I was like, okay, this will be like an awesome opportunity to edit. Only caveat is that between like now and when we move into our actual apartment, I don't have access to like the desktop computer that I edited from, so I need to figure out like what that situation looks like. I also need to like make friends, and I need to reach out to the friends that I have that are here. And I feel like those are kind of like the primary focuses, like right, like kind of personal goal of like editing more, and then also just like wanting to kind of be proactive about like trying to make friends and like trying to like carve out a life here. But I noticed that I was kind of putting pressure on myself last week, which is crazy because it's like I was like a few days into being to San Francisco, and there was just like I noticed there was this kind of like voice in the back of my head being like, oh, like I need to reach out to people, I need to make friends, I need to do whatever else, and then immediately thereafter like a follow-up voice being like, I just got here. It is okay to like allow the jet lag and to allow the kind of like settling into like the new space, the new area, getting to know the new area, just like we can wait for the boredom to come rather than trying to like preempt the boredom and prevent, you know, all the like negative thoughts that I may or may not have should boredom come. It's like trying to spare myself of that discomfort is just like creating the discomfort early. But luckily I've done kind of enough like big life shifts moves in my life, which is not to say I've done a ton. Like some people are like living in different cities all the time, like not quite, but like listen, you move across the country to go to college, that's quite a new normal to get used to. You move from college to the city that you're going to live in, that's quite a new normal to get used to. So like I've seen this film before, if you will. So I think I know better than to try to get too ahead of myself and like too nervous about, right, like making sure everything's perfect. Like it's okay if I have some like uncomfortable thoughts and feelings while I settle in here and while I like kind of re-cobble together a like network of like friends and people. And it's also okay to not like immediately be on top of that for the sake of never having to deal with like the negative thoughts and feelings about not having made enough friends. I can just like wait and come to and like decide like, oh, I'm feeling like a little bit lonely and I'm like missing like X, Y, and Z in my life. Maybe I can like start to take steps to try to create relationships and try to like expand on relationships, etc., etc. But I was talking to my coach about it and I kind of had this like really nice and like comforting thought, which was that like it's not the same as like going to college when you like kind of have no one and you're 18 and you're surrounded by 18-year-olds and everyone's like just coming off of high school and everyone's really insecure and like everyone wants to make friends, which is great. That's like a really helpful energy to like, you know, be welcomed into, but you're not totally sure of yourself yet and you're probably really insecure and you question everything you do, or at least if you're anything like me. And the good thing is that I'm not 18 anymore. And I'm just like a lot more self-assured and we just have like a little bit of a network here, which is great. And I can just like tap into that network and try to flesh out that network. And like, I don't really have to worry about the kind of like weird head games of like fellow 18-year-olds who are trying to prove something to themselves by like demonstrating that they're still at the top of whatever arbitrary hierarchy they have in their head. That has not been something that I've had to deal with nearly as much as an adult. I'm sure that energy exists. I'm just very good at avoiding it. And I'm confident that, you know, the group of friends that like Max has here, the few people that I know here are not really like that. So I had this really nice thought that it's like, what if it just like came together on its own? What if I like didn't need to force it? What if I didn't need to like take all of these like aggressive steps to like try to be proactive and get ahead of like making friends? And like, what if it just so happened that like the network of people that Max knows here are like nice and well connected enough and connect us to enough people that like I start to cobble together a network of friends pretty naturally, right? Like I was kind of thinking about it. Like that was like a really nice and kind of comforting thought to have. And also like a comforting thought to think that like, and if that doesn't work, I can like assess later. I can reassess later and be like, okay, what can I do to try to make friends? If that makes sense. And that feels like a good way to approach things right now because there's so much going on in our life. Like I just really don't want to be like pressuring myself to, you know, put myself out there and try to make friends and blah, blah, blah. Like we can just like allow it to come. But I do think, like, I think the thing that like I will be probably kind of proactive about is I'm going to be more reluctant to say no to things, right? That it's like, I think that when you're introduced to new social situations, like a lot of people, the kind of initial reaction is like some level of like hesitance and apprehension, and it can be easy to like lean into that hesitance and lean into that apprehension. But I think that like one of the pluses of being like older and a little bit more experienced and like having to create new social networks and whatever else is just having the confidence to like one, go into those settings with like more self-assuredness and like liking myself enough to like be fine if people don't seem to like me back. So I think like that's obviously helpful. And then like that is a really kind of, it's a that kind of mindset facilitates like less hesitance when it comes to saying yes to things like that. Like, for example, one of Max's friends here, she's so sweet. She is like really social, and she's been like really sweet, being like, oh, like we're gonna connect you to like all the friends, and like she wants to like help us like make friends through friends, which is so nice, and like what an incredible person to like have in our network like right off the bat. She like invited me to this yoga thing, and I'm like nervous about going to yoga because of like my knee, but I'm like, you know what, it's fine, because I can just tell the instructor that like I need to watch out for my knee, and I can like make the fixes as I need to. If I have to be like a little bit awkward in the class, that's fine. Even if it's around like somewhat new people, I've embarrassed myself worse. It will be okay. And it's just the kind of thing that it's like, this is like a good opportunity to kind of like lean in. It's a Monday night. I wouldn't normally do things on a Monday night in New York when I like have a settled, established like social network, whatever. But you know, being in this like new space, it's like, okay, well, we can try out new things. And also like, I know that it's like a better idea to say yes right now and just like lean into that stuff, and like when it comes, embrace it. Right? So that's where I'm at with the friend thing. But mostly I think the like biggest takeaway there is that like I had these thoughts come up of like, I need to be more proactive about this a few days into being here. And immediately after, because like I've done like some of the mind management stuff, correcting myself, like having like, I don't know, it's like there's the anxious little like devil on your shoulder, and then there's the like level-headed angel on the other shoulder, and it's like the anxious one pipes up and is like, what if you have to do this, and what if you're gonna be sad, and what if this, and then the little like self-assured angel on the shoulder is like, no, it's okay, there's no real danger that we're in here, so there's no need to act as though there's danger here. Like, we can settle in, we can slow down. And I'm really grateful for that instinct. And if you were watching this because you were also going through a move, I encourage you to give yourself a break in the same way that the little angel on my shoulder encourages me to give myself a break. Because if you run anxious, and especially socially anxious, I think it's helpful to just remember that nothing's on fire. So. I honestly don't know at what point in the video this will land. I think at this point I have footage for multiple, and I have successfully procrastinated editing a video for weeks now. I just wanted to pop in because I was thinking about something that I feel I've been realizing is uniquely maybe difficult about moves, dealing with moving, etc. At least like what I'm experiencing right now, because we're kind of between, we are waiting for some like storage items to come in and to like kind of finalize the initial setup of the apartment, if that makes sense. Like, we had a lot of furniture from New York. A lot of that is set up, but we had a couple of like storage items that we needed to get. And as a result, this apartment is becoming messy so fast. And I was just thinking about that because that feels like a very kind of unique problem for me, like this kind of stage of moving in, where it's like things feel mostly set up, the place is feeling mostly good, like definitely like needs some work, but it's feeling like pretty comfortable, all things considered. Like, it's not like the mess when we first moved in. However, I am cleaning up constantly, and that is because when I go to do anything, it just makes a mess.